Hello everyone, and welcome to this review of the Anakin Skywalker Premium format by Sideshow Collectibles. This piece came out in 2007 in an exclusive and a regular version, and this is the exclusive one. There were made 1,000 pieces of each version, but in my opinion this is the one to get, the exclusive one, because he has this extra head where he has his Sith eyes that you see towards the end of Revenge of the Sith, and that is really a big part of this character and his development. So in my opinion this is the one to get. As I said, he came out in 2007, so he's an older piece by now. Still, in my opinion, he's extremely underrated. He's not that popular, I think, but he's extremely underrated because the workmanship, the craftsmanship in this piece is exceptional. I'm gonna zoom in on his head, you know, all that, and I'm gonna show you how his face is done and how similar to the real character, the real person Hayden Christensen that he is. I really think that is one of the biggest selling points about this character and or this statue. And well, I just love the character, his development from a child into Darth Vader, and this statue really is a essential piece in that context, I think. So I'm just gonna turn him around so you can see him from all angles. He comes with this extra cloak. I'm gonna go into greater detail on that later. The cloak that he's wearing here. And of course, as with many other Jedi and Sith statues, this cloak can be quite troublesome to fit on him, so he looks good. But if you put some time and effort into it, I think this is the best you get out of him. I mean, I think it's a big part of him. He needs to be wearing this cloak, I think. But I'm gonna show you how he looks without the cloak as well. But as you see him here, this is how I choose to display him, and it just really gives an extra dimension to him, I think. So I really like that. And he comes with this lightsaber here, which has a light up function. I'm gonna show you that later as well. So yeah, let's just dive right into it and get a close-up of his face. Right, so here you have him up close. This fantastic sculpt of Hayden Christensen. I really think that Sideshow did a perfect job in capturing the actor's look. And for me that is really one of the biggest selling points when it comes to this guy. This is a movie piece, and it's really important that that they capture the look as precisely as possible, and I really think that they've done that here. So that was definitely one of the biggest selling points when it comes to this statue, in my case. And well, I really like the character. He is fundamental to the entire Star Wars saga, so I'm really happy that I have this guy in my collection. Well, you can see he's wearing his Sith head here with his yellow eyes. And as I said, this is how I choose to display him. I really think that the yellow eyes are important because they signify the transition that Anakin goes through from being a young Jedi into becoming Darth Vader. And that is why I really feel that this statue is important and really an important piece in the entire Star Wars saga. And I couldn't be more happy. I mean, they've done a great job, Sideshow. I'm gonna just turn him around so you can see his look. He's wearing his cloak now, and as I said, this is part of how I choose to display him with his cloak. You can take it off, and as with any other statue, it's quite annoying to put on because you have to spend some time on getting it right to look right. But I choose to keep on the cloak because it adds this extra volume to the character, or to this statue, because you all know Darth Vader. He's this big guy. David Prowse was a big guy, and when he's wearing this cloak on this piece, I really feel that it adds this volume, so he looks more like Darth Vader. Because if he wasn't wearing the cloak, he'd look a little thinner, and I think that it would be difficult to imagine this young man becoming Darth Vader, because there are some significant differences, I guess, in their physical appearance. But when you keep on the cloak, I think this distance between these two characters is lessened a little. So yeah, and as you can see, his skin tone, in my opinion, it's quite good. I don't know how the lighting influences the video here, but in my opinion it looks really good. And his hair is dark and has these hints of brown highlights, typical for Sideshow, and it looks great. There's nothing really there to complain about at all. So basically, I really think that this piece is fantastic. I mean, the sculpt is just exceptional and spot on. So yeah, I couldn't be more happy. Now he comes with this regular head, which is basically the perfectly same sculpt. The only difference is the eyes that are a little brown. They are normal. The eyes are normal. That's what I'm trying to say. I have it here. As you can see, perfectly normal face. Everything else is basically the same. I don't know if there are slight differences in the skin tone. But I'm keeping on the Sith head, because that's the one that I love and I find meaningful in this context. Right, so there you have it, his perfect face in my opinion. I'm gonna try and peel off the cloak now so you can get a look at him, how he looks without the cloak, and then I'm just gonna, as I always do, go down the character and go over all the aspects of this statue. So just hang on tight. And here we have him without his cloak, and well, as you can see, he looks a little thinner now, I guess. He's not as intimidating somehow, but he's agile, he's ready to fight. So I understand why many people prefer to have him displayed like this. And as with in many other cases, the cloak can be a little difficult to get right. I mean, you have to work it to make it look cool. I have the cloak right here. It's actually a huge piece of fabric. I mean, and you probably need to iron it for it to look well. And it's just this brown thing. Not really much to say about it. But as you can see, I think he looks like we all remember him. And you can really see the extra things he's got here. The utility belt with all the things, gadgets or whatever they are on it. And yeah, so let's just zoom right in and get a closer look at him. Right, so here we have his mid area, and as you can see, Sideshow have done a really great job on his outfit. And it is comprised mainly of different types of fabrics, and I really like that Sideshow have done this for many of their Star Wars pieces. And even though in the future premium format doesn't necessarily entail fabric parts, they have stated that they are going to release pieces under the premium format label, even though they are entirely sculpted. I'm really happy that we have these long line of pieces that have these fabric parts, because they do really, I mean, they do really add that extra well, look to this character, and I really think it looks convincing and more like a collectible than if it was entirely sculpted. I know this is a matter of personal taste, I guess, but I really think that this adds a lot to the statue. Now we have this leather here, and we have a belt here which is comprised of two pieces. Actually, we have a fabric going all the way around it's a little broader, and then we have this leather belt with all the gadgets on it. And we have this black inner shirt here, which covers his arms and his chest, and we have a brown one here, which is just around his neck. It just, well, it's, if you need to change the head, you need to open up the gap here, and that's why they've done it like this, I think. I'll just turn him around. As you can see, this is a really thin fabric. I don't know what the English name for this is, but it's difficult to mold this, and but it falls into place quite nicely. So it looks kind of nice, I think. And we have these gadgets or bags or whatever these are, which are made of plastic, stuck on the belt. And his light up arm here is his right hand, which is connected with a plug. You can take this off, and you need to take this off in order to get on his cloak. And there's a connector inside here, which is there in order for his lightsaber to light up. So as you can see, this is a really nice outfit. Sideshow have done a really great job, I think, and it's yeah, I really don't have anything bad to say about this. I think it's really great. Now I'd like to just give you a look at the lightsaber hand, so just 1 second and I'll zoom in on it. Right. Now I really think that Sideshow sculpted this hand really great. I mean, this is one of the important or significant parts of this character, his cyborg hand, similar to the one Luke gets in the original trilogy. And this saber, as you can see it here, is Anakin's saber, the one that is passed on to Luke as well. You have the design, it's just perfect. They got it completely right. The lightsaber does have this light up function. It's really not that effective. I mean, I can try and switch it on and you can see. Yeah, well, now we are at the base of the sword, but if I zoom out a little, it doesn't really fill out the entire saber, so it's a kind of weak light. And I know that Sideshow have different ways of doing this. In some of their newer pieces, in some of them, they've gone with a different technology, which is more effective and looks more convincing. But still, it doesn't really. I mean, I don't really like my statues to have buttons on them, so it doesn't really matter to me that it's weak. I'm gonna keep it turned off most of the time anyway, I think so. But it's a nice addition to the statue. I mean, again, it shows dedication from Sideshow, and I appreciate that, I guess. But it's not really that mind-blowing, this part of him. And I don't think that you can pull off the lightsaber blade. I think it's stuck to the handle. I'm not gonna try and experiment with that because I don't want to break anything. But it was packed like this, and I'm not gonna toy around with it, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. Right, so let's just hastily move on. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna shut him off again. Now the base is quite simple, as with many of the other Star Wars premium formats. There's really not much to talk about. They have they have done different bases. They have done more exciting bases on different statues, but in this case it's quite boring. It's just a square thing. He's standing on a metallic surface, I guess, maybe inside a... Well, in the context of the storyline, I guess he's standing on Mustafar, but I don't really know. He might be in the Jedi temple or whatever. But it's a metallic surface which is just clean. There are not many details on it. But as you can see, his legs here are... He's wearing these brown pants with quite tight, I think. And his boots here are nicely detailed. Yeah, and you can see the red button here. He uses batteries. He doesn't plug into a cord or anything. I don't know why they did the red button. I mean, why did it have to be red? As I said before. Oh, his lightsaber's gonna hit the camera now. I'm just gonna turn him all the way around. I mean, the base and the lower part is quite simple. There's not much to talk about here. I don't mind really, because the focus is his eyes, his face, and what he's standing on, whatever. Just make it solid, make it safe and sound, and I've got no worries there. The cord plugs through his right leg, So underneath here is a plug for the power, and well, I guess it just runs up through his body. And when I unboxed this guy, I mean, when he came from retailers, his right leg here was packed and wired. And when I unboxed this character, and I'm talking about a few weeks ago, he was packed like that. So what I have here, what I got from this nice lady in the US, is a almost mint in box piece, and I'm really happy about that. But when I opened up the box, I was kind of shocked because it looked like his leg had been broken. But I read up on it, and it apparently this is how the Sideshow decided to pack this guy. I don't know if they wanted to make sure that everything in his the plugs and all that were intact during shipping. I guess that's the reason. So the packaging was perfect. I mean, again, Sideshow did a good job here as well. I know they have slacked a little on packaging the recent years, especially on the Stormtrooper premium format. If you saw that, I mean, that was just horrible. Right, so that's not really much to talk about, so let's just move on here and sum up a little bit. Just give me 1 second to zoom out. And here we have him once again wearing his cloak, and as I said, this is how I prefer to display him. Now the cloak can be, as I've been saying, difficult to fit on him and mold so it looks right, but if you put some time and effort into it, you can really get a nice result. There are wires running down the edges and the bottom edge of the cloak, but they don't always do good. I mean, they can actually become part of the problem actually. And I do recommend that you iron the cloak once you unpack it, because it just makes it look a little nicer, and well, it's easier to work with when it's ironed, I think. Now I really love this piece, and it's really a important piece in my Star Wars collection. I mean, the character of Anakin Skywalker is fundamental and essential to the entire Star Wars saga, I guess, because he's the one who turns into Darth Vader, and well, he just dictates the plot throughout all the movies, I guess, somehow. And this piece in particular is like a turning point for the prequels, where you go from the prequel trilogy into the original trilogies, and this is really a fundamental time. I mean, you have this guy who turns into Darth Vader, and of course that is really an important moment in the entire story, and I really find this piece to symbolize that exceptionally well, and therefore I find this piece to be a really great symbol of the entire saga as a whole. And the fact that at least I find that Sideshow have done a really great job on the sculpt and on the clothing, and the pose as well is really just great. And I don't really understand why so many people don't realize this when it comes to this piece. I mean, I haven't seen him in that many collections, as I've said, and I find him to be a little underrated, I guess. But still, I'm happy I have him, and I will be getting more Star Wars collectibles in the future. I am dedicating my collection more towards Star Wars, so there will be coming more reviews and stuff like that relating to Star Wars. And right, so I don't really have much else to say. If you enjoyed watching this video, I hope you did. I hope you find it useful. But do remember to subscribe and like the video, and other than that, thank you for watching.